This is Chuck Huber, the voice of Android 17. You're listening to Anime Seekers. You better be, or I'm coming for you. Dragon of the Darkness, Flame!
Toku Secrets is a podcast run by the Anime Secrets website. Check us out at animesecrets.org for more anime, video game, tokusatsu content. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts today.
Hey guys, I'm Hunter Dino. I'm your Pink Dino Fury Power Ranger and your Red Cosmic Fury Power Ranger, and you're listening to Toku Secrets podcast.
Welcome to Toku Secrets. Join us as we journey into the marvelous world of Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, and many other tokusatsu. Get ready for the adventure of a lifetime. It's Morphin' time! Link to the Morphin' Quest. I'm Nathan Desai, the dazzling adventurer, Spoken Silver.
I'm Patrick Allen, I'm Shinken Red.
And I'm Rizwan Merchant, Gokai Red.
And I'm Anthony Davis, also known as Curie Green. And we're Toku Secrets.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 135 of the Toku Secrets podcast, presented by animesecrets.org. I am your host, Nathan Desai. And today we are continuing our little review of Seijuu Sentai Gingaman. We have the whole crew on here again today. We're going to be doing a bit of a quicker podcast, though. Last time when we did Gingaman, we did chapters 1 through 10. This time, since we can't go all the way to 20 without eating into a big story arc, but if we go into that story arc, then we're gonna end up having a podcast that's going to be like 17 episodes long, and we want to kind of avoid doing like a 3 or 4 hour podcast. So we're just going to, kind of cut it down a little bit to where we do another short, quick podcast, kind of like what we did with Geo Ranger, except this time the episodes actually have some substance to them. Although I don't know, like the fact that we're doing
I will debate you on that one, my good friend.
What, you don't think all these some of these episodes are good?
Some of them are good, some of them are not good. We'll get to that when we get to that, too.
Yeah. But, yeah, with that being said, I kind of realized, we did episodes like 1 through 11 through 16 for Geo Ranger because we wanted to do a whole thing for Burai's story arc, and now here we are doing it with Gingaman. The parallels between Gingaman and Geo Ranger kind of make me feel uncomfortable, but it's still a good Sentai.
I feel dirty.
What also tells you, it also goes back to the point of Zoo Ranger of just missing the mark, like the potential. Gingaman is taking full advantage of that potential.
Yeah, totally.
It's like Kobayashi watched Zero Ranger. I'm sorry if you actually did, and if you're listening to this somehow, and if you are listening to us, what the heck are you doing?
How did you find us?
But yeah, drop us a comment down below and explain how you found me. But anyway, no, I feel dirty when I realize how many Zero Ranger parallels we have here.
Yeah.
Now, this is like that yearbook photo where it says Zoo Ranger, and the next one next to it is the cooler Zoo Ranger.
That's true.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's recap the first 10 chapters. Basically, we have 5 warriors from a hidden magical forest known as the Ginga Forest, and they're chosen to be the 133rd generation of Gingamen. They're a group of warriors who wield earth power, which is like a power granted from the earth itself that gives them power over classical elements, and they defend the world from evil. We have our warrior of fire, the serious, cool, and quick-witted Hyuga. Warrior of wind, who's the, serious and cool Hayate. We have a strong and hardy, yet also kind of clumsy warrior of water, Goki. A young, gluttonous, and kind of childish but well-meaning warrior of lightning, Hikaru, and a bubbly and no-nonsense tomboy warrior of flowers, Saya. But then after they were named Gingaman, they encountered the Ball Bomb. This is a group of space pirates who were sealed away by the original Gingaman 3,000 years ago. They get freed from an earthquake, and While fighting the Ball Bond, Hyuga gave his role as a Gingaman to his younger and less confident brother Ryoma, because he fell into the ground, fell into a crack in the ground caused by the earthquake. And Ryoma joined the other Gingamen, and they obtained the Ginga braces to transform. Ryoma is Ginga Red, Hayate is Ginga Green, Goki is Ginga Blue, Hikaru is Ginga Yellow, and Saya is Ginga Pink, and together they're Seijuu Sentai Gingaman. The Balbon are set on trying to revive the Great Titanics. This is a monster that houses their ship so that they can basically destroy Earth. The Gingamen were briefly cut off from the Ginga Forest. Actually, they've been cut off from the Ginga Forest since the Balbon tried to drain the Ginga Forest in order to get its energy to revive Great Titanics, and since they no longer have their home, they've moved in as live-in helpers at a local horse riding club. They've befriended a little boy named Yuta and his father Haruhiko. They have a base, which is a big tree that is grown from a seed given to them by their forest elder, and inside that tree is like the tree's consciousness called Moke, who's like their Zordon-esque mentor. And they've obtained multiple, weapons along the way, and also making contact with the Star Beasts. There are 5 sentient giant animals who assist them in battle and can also combine to form Gingayo. And, a recurring element is that Ryoma struggles with this insecurity over not being as good as Hyuga. Hayate has a fiance in the Ginga Forest that he was supposed to get married to. And at least for right now, although that's going to change pretty quickly here, the Balbon are led by General Sambash and his army of insect-like biker-themed monsters. So that brings us to Chapter 11, A Warrior's Devotion. This and 12 are kind of a two-parter, but kind of a very loose two-parter. You'll see what I mean. But this is basically a Goki-centric episode where Goki attends Yuta's Parents' Day at school because he has to fill in for Haruhiko. And he meets Suzuko Mizusawa. She is Yuta's teacher. And he falls in love with her. Very important thing to note, I do... and you would probably know this, from looking at the Ranger Wiki and everything. Like, not going to spoil anything too much, but Suzuko is going to be a recurring character for the remainder of the series as Koki's love interest. Sambash is given a one last chance at the end of this episode, and the way that this is a two-parter is that he used a monster to create an earthquake, and the earthquake uncovers a hidden cave, and he tries to enter it. One other thing about this episode, I always love to point out when footage of untransformed Sentai Rangers is used in Power Rangers, the shot of Goki ducking with this guy for cover when the tower collapses on top of the car, that was actually used in the Lost Galaxy episode, which don't know why, because I don't know how they thought that they could pass off Goki in that shot as looking like Kai, when Kai's GSA uniform looks nothing like Goki's Ginga clothes, but whatever. But yeah, just wanted to point that out. So yeah, I just spoke for like a good 8 minutes. What do we all think about this episode, guys?
My boy Goki finally got his time to shine. We finally got an episode for him, and yeah, I just remembered how much I like this guy. He's you can't hate him, man.
No.
Yeah,
He's
Goki.
Goki, you sly dog.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Goku's a fun character. I liked his story arc, and is this me, or is he kind of paralleling Domon to a certain degree?
Yeah, but in his own different way. Like, Domon was kind of all... Like, even in the first episode of Time Ranger, they kind of established that Domon is kind of a ladies' man, while Goki is... He's this, like... He's a brave warrior, but he's kind of a doofus, like a clumsy doofus, and this is him, like, becoming even more of, like, a socially awkward doofus because he's met a girl that he's had a real score.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, but Nagoki has some serious stock increase here for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you. It's like, wait until you get to know him, then you'll see why I've been hyping him up for so long.
I mean, I still have another Ranger I think is my favorite, but Goki's getting up there.
Yeah, I love like I just love this part where like he's filming the whole thing and like Suzuko says like, "Oh, okay, you're not talking. Are you afraid of your parents? Okay, well, who hates math? Everybody raise their hand." And then Goki's all like, "Me." Like,
he just wanted to
You
be
know,
noticed.
my question to that scene was, does Goki know what math is? Could he know what math is given his background?
I'm going to assume that they had some form of formal education in the Ginga Forest.
I mean,
They seem
not like,
educated enough.
yeah, but not
So
like algebra, calculus,
no,
geometry.
but
Probably
like
more
at least
basic
like basic
arithmetic.
addition and subtraction at least.
Yeah.
I think what and honestly like what meant I loved this episode when I first watched it way back like 10 years ago, but I probably love it a lot more now. Because after I watched the Lost Galaxy equivalent, because here's the thing, I like the Lost Galaxy episode okay, but what I really like about this is that they have like this one moment where like so in the Lost Galaxy episode, I don't really I mean Kai and Hannah were kind of cute, but they don't really have that much like time to like talk with each other. They give a scene where Goki sees Suzuko crying and she's like worried that she's not a good enough teacher and Goki's offering her like advice as a warrior. That's a genuinely like heartwarming moment, and it kind of makes me happy that this is going to be a recurring plot element, because when they're actually able to talk together, they're actually kind of cute. And I stand by what I said. Hold on, I need to bring up this like specific thing I said about like how this like great story only gets reduced to like a filler episode in Lost Galaxy. Hold on, where did I say the
Yeah.
thing?
Pulling up the notes from the archives. Stand by.
I basically said in
Loading.
one of my cons, quote, "How dare they reduce Goki's absolutely adorable romance subplot down to just a one-off filler episode?" In all caps. Shame on you, Saban. Shame.
Shame. Shun.
Okay,
Shame.
but okay,
Shame.
if we're to just
Shame.
take, okay, Anthony, I get it. You're trying to be the one that tells Cersei same in Game of Thrones, but no. Let's get back to the review. But see, this one episode, chapter 11,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like gives our Blue more personality and more memorability than Kai got in Lost Galaxy.
He
Like,
was
I
a
don't
nothing
remember too much.
character.
He didn't really. Eh.
He
Like-
had like one or two episodes where he did stuff, but as a whole, he's a forgettable Blue.
Okay,
Yeah.
but given I haven't seen Lost Galaxy in like 10 years, I remember nothing.
No,
I
Kai is a
remember
nothing
Maya
character.
moment. I remember Maya moments. I remember Kendrick's moments. I remember. No, wait, hang on. Do I remember Damon moments? I don't know if I do.
No, there was none.
I don't think I do.
There
think I
were
do,
none.
And
He's a decoy.
Oh boy.
so, I mean, Saban just didn't write these characters well. And I mean, honestly, Goki and Hayate had a lot of
You say rememberable stuff, so I'm just giving you stuff to remember.
No, I mean, they have stuff you're going to remember. And Damon and Kai didn't.
Yeah.
So
Maybe to y'all, I see it differently, but that's just me though. Maybe because I've watched Power Rangers religiously. That's probably why.
I mean,
I did too, sir. Them be fighting words.
I mean, I watched Lost Galaxy.
No, I just mean like I grew up with it. That's what I'm saying.
So
I did
did
too.
I.
I stopped after Lost Galaxy.
I mean,
But I kept watching after Lost Galaxy.
Yeah, I came back for Tommy and Down of Thunder whenever I turned the TV on and, oh, hey, look, there's Tommy jumping off a cliff. Wait, what is this thing? Oh, it's Dino Thunder, Power Rangers. Wait, Power Rangers still going? What the hell is going on here?
Wait a minute.
That was my entire train of thought in that moment, and that's what brought me back to the fandom and kept me here for the most part over the next, 15, 20 years or whatever.
I mean, I watched Lost Galaxy recently, in preparation for this, and I think Kai and Damon have moments here and there that I would give a shout out to them for, but they're definitely I don't think that they belong in the bottom 5 blues and greens, but they certainly don't deserve to be in the top 10 blues and greens either.
Don't be insulting my man Kai with idiots like Dax.
Yeah, I know. Anthony, did you want to add anything on chapter 11?
I just want to say that, as much as I do enjoy Lost Galaxies, like I said again, they really botched this episode up in their version.
Yeah.
Because that chick that Kai gets with or tries to get with, she only appears 1 episode. That's it.
Yeah.
Never be seen again.
And also, one other thing I just now remembered, this is something that always kind of bothered me in the Lost Galaxy episode. In the Gingaman episode, so the plot plays out exactly the same, where the Blue Ranger thinks that this girl that he's fallen in love with is going to get married, and he gives her the wedding dress, and then he runs off and changes, he transforms. In the Gingaman episode, when Goki runs away, Suzuko is looking genuinely shocked and sad, no, Goki, don't run away, hinting at how the episode is going to end. Hannah does not look phased at all when Kai is running away. And it's why did you send Kai the note then if you don't even look phased that Kai is going to leave? Seriously? So
yeah. This is just reminding me how much I don't like Lost Galaxy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate Lost Galaxy.
Yeah.
I thought it was a decent season, but
I don't know. Given how I get surrounded by in space, Lightspeed, and Time Force, it's definitely in comparison to the others.
But what do we want to give chapter 11 out of 10, guys?
I'm giving it a 9.
Yeah, 9 for me too.
I'm gonna go with a 9 here.
I'm giving it a 9 too.
Cool. 9's all around.
Okay, I'll say 9. So
yeah. All right, so now let's move on to chapter 12, which continues off of how the previous episode ended. It's called Nightmare Reunited. Basically, in this episode, Sambash is he's trying to retrieve a mysterious box inside the cave, but he can't enter the cave without earth power. So what happens is that he apparently shows Hyuga, he's holding Hyuga hostage, to Ryoma, and Ryoma has this supposed, tearful reunion with Hyuga, but unfortunately it turns out that the monster, that Hyuga is actually just a monster in disguise that was kind of meant to trick Ryoma into using his earth power to open the cave. But it's very important to note that while Ryoma is fighting the monster, he hears Hyuga's voice, encouraging him to fight on, which leaves him wondering maybe Hyuga isn't dead, but we don't know. This episode introduces the Gingalites. You'll know these as the Lights of Orion in Lost Galaxy. They're a powerful energy source. They were brought to Earth from another planet 3,000 years ago, and Sambash wants to get the lights in order to use it to revive Titanics, and he opens the chest, but it's revealed to be empty. And what's funny is that he says something that it's not going to be relevant until, ironically enough, the beginning of the next batch of episodes. But he says he apparently killed the man who brought the Gingalites to Earth, and that's why he thought they were in the chest, but apparently the guy lied. So that's important to note. And the big thing that happens here is that Sambash gets killed in battle. he gets defeated by Ryoma and then tries to like ram him in a suicide attack, but instead he just goes flying off a cliff and dies. And other than that, one other note: the suit of the cricket-like monster of the day of this episode, Gorenji. It's a modified version of Tagrador. That's the blue beetle monster from Chapter 7. That's why that monster never appeared in original footage in Lost Galaxy. So, what do we think about Chapter 12, guys?
This was really good writing to give Ryoma some more ways to express his grief, but also, in a weird way, process some grief about his dead brother, or possibly dead brother. I don't want to say he's dead, because I don't think he's actually dead.
Mm-hmm.
But, no, I think this did a lot to raise Ryoma's stocks in my book. A lot. Like,
Yep.
Homeboy went through some stuff in this episode that you just don't see happen very often with many Reds.
Like, it's kind of a cruel joke by Sam Bash too to even do this in the first place.
It is.
Yeah, like, but I love the twist at the end when he opens up the chest and there's nothing in there, and then he realized he got punked. Like,
yeah.
I remember the first time I watched this, and like, it's gonna open up, and then they're just gonna like flee away, and then there's gonna be like a chase afterward. But no, he just outright got jobbed. It was hilarious.
When you said that, I imagined the Dragon Balls floating up and flying into different parts of the planet.
I thought, and when I first time watching this, I thought that's what was gonna happen. Like, they weren't just gonna like appear and like hover there; they were gonna like split. But no, it's just an empty chest.
You know what, Riz? I'm glad you said that. I'll give you a prime example of what he's referring to exactly. It was the episode of Dragon Ball Z where they were on Namek. They were some of the dragon with the Dragon Balls. They were about to do their last wish, but just before that happens,
then they turn off.
These spoilers, guys. But Dragon Ball's been out for years. Yeah, they turn off because Guru dies. And they're like, oh, they turn to stone now.
Yeah, Vegeta's like,
can't use the Dragon Balls anymore.
What the heck happened?
Am I mortal? Like, no.
No.
There's a simple explanation for this. But no, I thought this episode was really fantastic. My only complaint is I didn't want Sam Bass to die.
Why is that?
I liked him.
Why did you like Sam Bash?
I get Deviant vibes off of him because he was Deviant in Lost Galaxy, and I like Deviant.
No, he was Villamax in Lost Galaxy.
Same thing. That's what I meant.
No, Villamax and Deviant are not the same thing. Villamax is a much better character.
No, I meant, Deviant. I liked his character in Lost Galaxy. So, my own selfish reasons of, I want him to actually do something.
I mean, this does kind of begin a trend of the villains where they kind of cycle through each of Jihad's generals. Yeah, and they each get a turn. And then they all wrap up at some point in time, and he's just the first one to go.
But see, it'd been interesting to me if they had them take turns and keep them around a bit longer.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. I will say this: by the time we get to the end of it, the villains are probably the worst part of this season. Just like with Shinkenger, they have some moments here and there, but they're not like Jetman or Geki Ranger, where like they're like a highlight of the show. But
yeah,
it is a complaint that I'll say is valid. Because
I kind of advocate for like what Riz did, like maybe one episode we have for what Riz said, where like maybe one episode we have one of Sam Bash's like insect biker monsters, and then the next episode you give us one of like Budo's like sea creature samurai monsters or something. They do something similar to in a Hurricaneger where like a bunch of the generals, not all of them, last to the end of the series, but most of them do, and they all have like different monsters with consistent themes. Where one episode could be like one of one of like Shimazu's monsters, and then the next episode could be one of the equivalent of like Zurgane's monsters, and so on and so
I
forth.
mean, it also
Like,
could have worked. It also could have worked and helped improve the villains too, because it's clear that the generals all don't like one another. So you would have had more interaction between them all, like laughing at the others for failing and yada yada yada. Kind of like what we had with Jetman, where
yeah,
they each had their own agendas, and when one failed, the others mocked them for it. And there's a foundation for something like that here, but
Yeah.
they just didn't do anything with that, sadly.
And,
I mean,
that's my big complaint is that the villains, end of the day, are not interesting. Like, I like Sam Bass's design, but
I do
was he
think
an interesting character? Not as much.
no. I do think that
I think
they get gradually more interesting throughout the season. Like
I hope so, because
Deviot's
I think
counterpart is a pretty interesting
yeah,
villain, but I forgot his name.
yeah.
It was
I think Budo will be kind of interesting, and
yeah.
Iris, however you pronounce Hecuba's counterpart's name. She'll be okay, I guess. I mean, Sam Bash is definitely the most boring of these four generals, though.
Yeah.
yeah. I just
Ironically,
wanted him to
because he
give
was
me
the most
more.
interesting in Lost Galaxy by a landslide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so
But what's funny is that they don't use that much footage of Sentai footage of Sam Bash, because you might have noticed, like in for people who watch Gingaman, he's always using a gun. Well, apparently Saban said, nope, we can't be showing no guns in kids shows, so they used
Yeah.
mostly original footage of Sam Bash and gave him a sword instead.
I mean, honestly, they did more original footage for the villains in Lost Galaxy because they had to. They didn't use maybe more than like 4 episodes of this footage in the entirety of Lost Galaxy when they went to the Lost Galaxy.
Mhm.
Yeah, and apparently that was because when they started filming Lost Galaxy, Toei was still filming the Gingaman versus Mega Ranger movie, and they needed to have all of these villain suits there, so those suits weren't available. That's why they had to take Dr. Heinler's suit from Mega Ranger to make Furio, and then just gave original designs for Scorpius and Trakina.
I mean, honestly, I'm okay with that because I don't like the Gingaman foot soldier design at all.
Oh yeah. The
They're
Swabbies aren't that great.
they're very
Yeah.
derpy foot soldiers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
go ahead.
they do have some
They
good
bug me.
comedic relief moments, but they are not intimidating in the slightest.
No. I mean, the Stingwingers aren't that intimidating either, but I mean, they're better.
You can't do worse.
Yeah. And it gives off that Starship Troopers type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to this episode, and again, I really hate bringing up these Lost Galaxy comparisons, but here's the thing. Lost Galaxy copies this episode. Now, granted, they use a different monster for the person who like plays the role that impersonates Hyuga, but the same plot, basically. Like, the emotion behind this episode is like great. Like when Ryuma supposedly reunites with Hyuga, it is played up like you can see the genuine emotion in his eyes as he's reunited with the brother that he thinks is dead. And now granted, Hyuga doesn't show the same emotion because it's not Hyuga, but I mean that's fine. But when he feels like he's been betrayed by Hyuga, he looks genuinely sad. And then at the end of this episode, it's a big thing where not just Ryoma, but everyone else is just thinking, we thought we were reunited with Hyuga. Maybe he really is just dead, and everybody just has so much, like, it's just like they've lost hope and everything. In the case of the fake Mike stuff, like, it just feels like an afterthought in the Lost Galaxy episode. Like, honestly, the only thing I remember from the fake Mike story in that Lost Galaxy episode, and this is not something, this should not be the most memorable thing, is the fact that the monster that impersonates Mike is voiced by Robert Axelrod. And when he transforms into his monster form, he uses the exact same laugh that he uses for Lord Zed. That should not be the big thing that I remember from that monster in
You
a
know,
moment.
legitimately,
It's emotional like this.
legitimately, I actually forgot that they brought Mike back for this episode in Lost Galaxy. That's how unmemorable that episode is. I don't even remember that happening.
I remember it happening. I don't remember the Lord Zed laugh though.
I don't
Yeah.
either. I said I don't even remember this Lost Galaxy's equivalent episode at all. that's not a
Yeah,
good thing.
they do.
I remember the monster look design.
Yeah, the monster. We actually see that monster in this episode. It's like I think it's like the episode one from like episode 15 of this batch. So they used a different monster, just but same role.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the emotion behind like the imposter Hyuga story is just it's handled in the most perfect way it could possibly be handled.
Yep. Again, that's what
And
happens when you have characters with established
Mm-hmm.
history with each other that the Lost Galaxy cast didn't have.
yeah,
And in hindsight, I probably
Mike!
more like in hindsight, I kind of wish that the entirety Lost Galaxy cast, or at least a majority of the cast, were like Maya, where they were natives to what was the name of their planet? Miranoi? Yeah. But they ended up having to flee the planet and then join Terra Venture. Like maybe make one of them human, but the rest of them natives to the planet so they could have more of this, connection. But
yeah.
I
But
think they're trying too hard to tie in space to this one, so that's why.
yeah.
they took the they took the wrong lessons from In Space and tried to apply them to Lost Galaxy.
I mean that Lost Galaxy episode was just a mess in general because they copy the Gingalites thing, and Mike tells Leo the lights of Orion have been in that cave for 3,000 years, and it's like Terra Venture existed 3,000 years ago. What?
I know. Unless they ripped a whole mountain out of the earth and put it in a dome, I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah, that just to,
Why didn't this just take place on another planet? That's what I'm trying to figure
Just
out.
have Terra Venture crash land on another planet, or have them, go to
no, have that cave be located on another planet,
Yeah.
but have the lights actually be in the chest, and then the chest opens up and the lights get freed, and then they flee to Terra Venture, to try and be safe. And from there, you can pretty much do the rest of the Lights of Orion story arc exactly how you do it, because there's an explanation on how they're on Terra Venture, and instead of everybody just wondering how are the Lights of Orion on Terra Venture now, like
Nate, there's a phrase you can use here that'll cover it very easily.
there's a simple explanation for that. Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, just like Corinth, how did those things keep getting in the dome? What was the point of that shield? I don't get it.
Welcome to RPM.
What do we want to give 12 out of 10 though, guys?
9.5.
Yeah, 9 for me too.
Yeah, I'll give it
all around 9.5.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, those are the two big things that have happened. I mean, we get some other bit stuff here and there, but that's basically the meat of this whole thing. So now the next couple of episodes are this episode kind of begins the next saga, but it's also kind of a filler. We have chapter 13, Beast Attack Reversal, where so at the beginning of this episode, Budo is the next general. He's the equivalent of Trecheron in Lost Galaxy. He steps forward to assume the responsibility of field commander. He has his monster mob of sea creature like samurai monsters. He learned about the Gingalites in the previous episode because one of his monsters was spying on Sambash, and he's using scrolls that contain legends on where the Gingalites may be hidden because he wants to. His mission is to obtain the light so they can revive Titanics. A very important thing to note about Budo, and this is going to carry on up until the end of his saga, is that in keeping with samurai tradition and the samurai theme of his army. Each time one of his monsters gets destroyed, he honors them, thanks them for their service. So, this begins his saga as the general. There's a little bit of character development here for Ryoma, because Moke criticizes Ryoma for, being too emotional in the previous episode, but he does apologize to Ryoma later on. And Ryoma basically kind of writes off hearing Hyuga's voice at the end of the previous episode, just thinking Hyuga's probably just dead and I have to get over it. This episode introduces new weapons called the Beast Strikers. There are 5 staff-like weapons that can transform into bazooka-like blasters called the Beast Blasters. These were called the Quasar Launchers in Lost Galaxy, and they actually get a formal debut here in Gingaman, as opposed to Lost Galaxy, where they skipped this episode and then they adapted the next episode, where the Galaxy Rangers just all of a sudden have these nice, cool bazookas. No formal debut, but
they came out of nowhere.
Yeah, literally. And what's weirder is that when the Lost Galaxy Rangers summon them in that episode, they act as if they've had these things the whole time. That was just so annoying. But
if you had them, why didn't you use them?
Yeah, exactly. But what do we think about episode 13, guys?
I love it.
I liked the back and forth with Mock and the team.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Hikaru's flippant personality clashing with his about responsibility and teamwork and all that good stuff. I thought that was pretty cool writing to have gotten for them.
Yeah. Ryoma has a lot of good moments in this too, where he's still grieving and trying to process what happened in the previous episode, and he's trying to come to terms with Hyuga's death, and Moke being logical and realizing that, maybe I need to be a little bit more lenient with these guys, and he ends up getting I love how at the end he was like, you guys kind of rubbed off on me, because he basically got reckless in this episode himself. And this is one of the reasons why
Hikaru rubbed off on him, not the team.
But, well,
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, mostly Hikaru, but yeah. But this is one of the reasons why I like Moke as a mentorish character, because he does have his own set of character moments throughout the season. He's not just a static wall of knowledge that some of these mentor characters end up being in Sentai specifically. So him having his own moment where he, kind of goes against his own words and he ended up saving the day pretty much. So it was just a good episode for a bunch of different characters.
And I like how they don't go this could have easily have been an episode where Moke tells off Ryoma, and they could have had the rest of the episode revolving around Ryoma just thinking, I need to get over Hyuga and stop being so emotional. I love how they don't go the full route of saying, and because first of all, the Gingamen themselves literally call Moke out and say, no, I mean, Hyuga was his brother. He kind of has every right to have those feelings. And Moke ends up apologizing at the end. This could have easily have been a cliched episode, I hate to bring up, the Jew Ranger again, but kind of this, it could have been how the the supposedly emotional episode where Dragon Caesar is mourning over Burai. You could have just gone the route and just have Geki just saying, hey, Burai's dead. Get over it, you whiny crybaby. No,
Did
they
we
don't
really have to bring that episode up?
No, I'm just saying that's a bad example of how this episode could have gone.
Well, they don't just say... Yeah, and then even when Moke apologizes to Ryoma was like, no, you were right. I was acting a little bit too into my emotions, and they had a good moment of solidarity with each other. Something that, honestly, they should have had a moment in Zoo Ranger where Geki came back to Dragon Caesar. Is I'm sorry about that. I was acting a little bit too harsh myself. We need to grieve, but no, that's too good of a character idea for Geki.
That makes way too much sense.
Yeah,
That's the
no.
problem.
I hate
Yeah,
that
but
guy.
You don't say.
Yeah, I think I need to make that more obvious.
You mean we didn't have 5 whole podcasts talking about this a couple of months ago?
No. I like to scrub that from my memory.
The podcast or
No,
Geki?
both.
Okay.
what do we want to give 13 out of 10, guys?
Oh, I can't get my thoughts yet.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
Just forgive me, why don't you? No, I'm playing. No, overall, I did enjoy. Stop laughing. You make me laugh. Okay. No, honestly, this was a good episode. I need to apologize again to Hikaru because, boy, I was literally on his side the moment he was like standing up for Ryoma and talking about some, hey, you can't talk, hey, don't talk to him like that. What's wrong with you? Like, that's, he can grieve if he wants to, and then everybody else joined him, whatever. Like, I misjudged you, man. I was not familiar with your game, as they
Look,
say.
I will say again, I don't understand the opinions you three have had on Sentais from like 4 or 5 years ago and today, because this is not the first time you'll tell me, oh, Hikaru's not going to be a great character, and then we all turn out and say, well, hold up, he's actually pretty baller. Looking at you, Sion, from Time Ranger, everyone.
Well, like I said,
I mean, Hikaru has a good moat when even Hayate
well, like I said
with him.
before,
Yeah.
You what?
yeah. Because, like I said before, I watched this Sentai literally like years ago, and I remember not liking. I was like, I find kind of annoying at first because I didn't like. I guess his like, constant, like always speaking out kind of bothered me at the time.
Yeah, that's fair. And
yet you like Chiaki? What?
I mean, I feel like for me,
Shaggy has justified for me though.
I mean, I feel like for me back then, I just like, I mean, I kind of had a weird mindset where I just always kind of tended to dislike someone who's kind of meant to be like the childish one who has moments where he could just be kind of dumb and annoying. But I don't know, like I had like a weird, I had a weird mindset when I watched Sentai back then. I mean, because keep in mind, I was like a dumb 20-year-old guy. So I feel like, just watching this again, with, having watched some Sentais and like reevaluated how I like certain things. Because back then, like I'm pretty sure I had different opinions on some even Power Ranger seasons that I think more highly of now. So I just feel like my mindset has just kind of changed, and I kind of appreciate characters in a different way.
See, now he's a dumb 30-year-old.
Yeah, same here.
Now what?
Now you're a dumb 30-year-old.
Yeah, I know, and my wife tells me that every day now. So I
wasn't gonna.
Don't make him feel worse about it, Riz. Jeez, he's already.
It was a joke of like him
Consider his feelings. Listen to Hikaru. Consider his feelings.
Nah, Nate's got some really good opinions.
But
I will continue to fight him on his Geki Ranger score because he's giving it too much credit.
I wanted to give it credit for some things. Okay, I know that those characters are not good, dude, and I agree with you. It's bad. And besides, we should be blaming Anthony for the fact that
he's already taken the front of the blame enough.
I can't blame Anthony anymore. It's getting
Exactly.
It's getting repetitive. I gotta shift the blame over to you for like a day or two.
Okay, fine. Fair enough.
Because why not?
What do we want to give 13 out of 10, guys?
I'm giving it a 9 also.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9.
Yeah, I'll do 9 too. All right, let's close this out with a couple of filler episodes. We have Chapter 14, to Saya-centric filler episode. This is one episode where if you've seen the Lost Galaxy episode, you've seen this episode. Basically, there's this actress who looks just like Saya because she's played by the same actress as Saya, and Saya who gets when even though Saya gets injured while battling against a monster, she fills in for the actress because she feels guilty for supposedly being responsible for her getting hurt. Even though the actress is just being kind of a diva, bitch, and is just pretending to be hurt so she doesn't have to work. What do we think about this one, guys?
Of the 3 filler episodes we have coming up, this is my favorite one of the 3.
Yeah, me too.
I think this is the most interesting of them because I might get some flack for this in the episode 16 about Hayate, but I think we get the most development for Saya in here because she's trying to portray herself as, a really strong warrior, which she is, but then also she's trying to say, hey, I like pretty dresses and frills and laces and pretty parties and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to explore that more, but my duty as a warrior comes first.
Yep.
And I think that's very good story development because it fits with her personality and part of why I liked her in the first episode when I texted you and said, Nate, forget the Kotaha Protection Agency. I'm forming a Saya Protection Agency now. Because Saya must be protected because she is a strong warrior girl, but also she has very feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of on that line where she can go both ways, and it's pretty awesome that she can go both ways in terms of like who she is, and it just makes her more multifaceted, which really ramps up my love for her a lot. Sorry, Kotaha, you're still awesome, but Saya got you beat.
Yeah, she's great here. I mean, she's injured to a point where she can barely walk, but she still gives it her all and keeps a smile on her face. Like, how can you not love that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, I mean, the story itself of like, oh no, we found a body double of you. Oh no, this body double is quote unquote insert. Oh no, you must now become a movie actress and you have no idea how to do that. Like that story is not anything revolutionary or anything. It's just kind of there. But Saya and her characterization and the depth they're going to give her, that's what makes this episode really good. And I'm going to end up giving this a 9.5.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much all of that. It's nice because up to this point, I think just like Goki, a lot of Saya's character moments were mostly seen in like the background when it comes to reacting to other things happening, and we didn't really have enough time to sit down and get to know her. And this is kind of that first episode where she really gets a chance to showcase who she is, and and there's a good character there. So
yeah, it kind of reminds me of some I love episodes where like tomboy women rangers get to show like more feminine likes, because they do that a lot in some of the Showa era Sentais, but I feel like it's done a bit better here just because Saya in general just gives off good vibes. Anthony, do you want to add anything for this episode?
I honestly did enjoy this too, and there was one distinction between Saya and the actress. The actress actually has a small little, like, I want to say it's a mold mark, a birthmark on her right above her cheek on the side, like
I
almost
think it's a
it's
birthmark they
almost
said in
toward
the
her eye.
episode.
That's what Hikaru had said. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's a cool, unique thing, because I remember in Lost Galaxy they didn't really they just said they look alike. They didn't really specify like what their different,
Yeah,
like
I don't
the
want to
difference of their
badmouth
looks
the
were.
Lost Galaxy episode too much because I thought Kendricks was great in that episode too. But I do like how this. Yeah, but I do like how this
Oh, she was
episode they
amazing in
actually
that
kind of
episode.
incorporate the doppelganger character into the climax of the fight, where like you have the monster supposedly corner Saya, but then it turns out, oh, her doppelganger just put on Saya's clothes, and here's the real Saya transformed as Ginga Pink here to like defeat that monster. While in Lost Galaxy they don't do something like that, but this is one of those cases where I don't want to badmouth it too much because Kendricks is one of my favorite Pink Rangers, and
Well,
she was great in this episode.
I remember the episode with Kendricks, and I thought they did really well there too for different reasons.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to fault Lost Galaxy for doing something different. I think they fit Kendricks' personality better with what they did there.
Mm-hmm.
And also, one little thing that I love that they did in here, when they did a switcheroo to have the actress be Saya, they also take the dirt and aesthetics of like how dirty Saya was after battling and put dirt on her face and on her arms to kind of make it seem more authentic and not just put on her clothing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I think that's a good like detail.
Yeah, that was genius writing.
Okay, well, Rick,
and
you can go ahead.
I just want to say,
yeah,
I just want to say one more thing. The only thing that I can really give a dislike to the Lost Galaxy episode that did this was the fact that this monster just thought that, oh, maybe they're hiding the cameras with no explanation of why you thought they was in the cameras in Lost Galaxy. So in Gingaman, at least with Budo, he explained that, oh, it could be like hidden within like the light's reflection or whatever. That makes sense, and it's on Earth. So of course you're trying to find where they are on Earth. They're still on a space colony. So like, why would they assume
are the
that
lights of
they're
Orion on this
there?
space colony to begin with? God, I just that really annoys me.
And then and then I don't know if this is like a nitpick or like maybe I'm just looking too much into it. Why did they feel the need to have an actress on a space colony?
I don't know.
Corinth had an active mafia. Okay, don't question it.
I feel like the novelty of like having an actress filming them.
That's completely different though, because like a mafia, like, 'cause think about it, you still want power, and I mean, like, even with the world being halfway destroyed, you still want to make bread somehow. I can kind of get behind that. It's like, oh, you think the world's destroyed? You think I think our mafia boss care about that? No. I'm still making my money. I'm still my paper. Leave me alone. Anyway, but with Lost Galaxy, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like you really necessarily need an actress for a colony. And like, what if she has like family and friends she didn't want to abandon, and she's gonna be away from them forever?
It doesn't bug me as much. Like filming a movie on a space colony, I feel like it would be a cool novelty to just show that to like the people of wherever the new world is, and maybe like somehow it gets back to Earth, and you could say this was filmed on a space colony. Like there would just be a cool novelty to that.
Okay, yeah. Now that you said that, you know what? I'll allow it.
Riz gave this one a 9.5. What do the rest of us want to give it?
Yeah, I'll give it a 9.
Yeah, I'll do 9.
I'll give it a 9.5.
All right, now let's move on to another filler episode. This revolves around Ryuma and Hikaru. So in this episode, Ryuma makes Hikaru swallow a bomb. Now, calm down. It's not because he wants to kill Hikaru. It's because he thought that it was cold medicine. And so, yeah, that sounds... I like how I just said that nonchalantly, but I wanted to clarify that he's not trying to kill Hikaru. And basically, they have to travel to a waterfall before he hiccups 100 times and sets the bombs off and kill himself. Okay, what
can we get some context here? Because you really sped through that.
Sentai plots with no context. Hayate forces Hikaru to eat a bomb.
Ryoma, not Hayate?
Not Hayate. Was it Ryoma? It was Ryoma. Yeah.
Ryoma.
I don't
Ryoma.
remember this. I don't remember this
but-
episode worth of crap. I just hated the concept
Okay.
of it.
Okay, so quick recap to help the audience back home who may not understand what the heck you're talking about, because the way you said that did not sound right. They're trying to do some work around a little stable place, and Hikaru fakes being sick to get out of doing work. Hikaru's laying in bed, pretending to be sick while eating donuts and watching TV or reading a magazine or something. I don't know what he's doing. And Ryoma's looking for medicine because he wants Hikaru to get better because he's a good leader. He cares about his team. He wants his team to do well. And so he finds cold medicine at the same time that a monster of the week pops on down and is like, ha ha ha, I'm here. Let's do stuff. And in the process of this, they run into the scientist guy who has a similar looking canister to what they have with the cold medicine. And switcheroos happen when they get knocked over and they grab the bomb, which is in the canister, and he grabs the cold medicine. Then he takes the bomb and puts it in Hikaru's mouth. See, that's context that they need to have.
Okay, yeah, thanks for explaining that whole time. But yeah,
And the reason I wanted to give that explanation is because while it's filler, I think this demonstrates two things that I liked. One, not only is Ryoma grieving his brother and feeling insignificant at being the Red and going through all that mental crisis with everything going on around him, especially with the events episode 11 or 12, whichever one it was, and it just gives him more depth as a good Red, and I like that. Because he's showing compassion for his team and good leadership and attempts to be able to do good by his people. Hikaru, on the other hand, is being an exemplary little piece of you-know-what because he's trying to get out of work. But honestly, it fits the character all too well, and it's typical thing that his character would do. But also, he's not a complete piece of crap about it. He's also remorseful when he realizes the effects that he had on the team by faking, and the entire shenanigans that happened after that point are a direct result of him trying to skive out of work. So he's taken ownership while also being a piece of crap. And I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that point you brought up about Ryoma because he's doing this thing where it's a branch off of him not feeling worthy of the Ginga Red position, where he's trying to overachieve to make up for what he thinks Hugo would provide for the team, and it's causing him to be like a better leader than he thinks he is. And yeah, it's one of the things that makes Ryoma such a good character.
But I think this is something that Ryoma had in him from the beginning.
Yeah,
he just didn't have the confidence to do it because he thought Hyuga would be the one, and then that'd be it.
Yeah,
so having his brother die and then him being thrust into this position, he's doubting himself because it's not his brother doing it anymore. But he definitely had the capability to do it all along.
Yeah.
Which is different from other Reds that we've seen where they are thrust into a role of responsibility and they don't know how to be a leader, so they have to learn from the ground up. But in this case, it's more of a, let's just bring out the things that you already have in you. Like, Tatsuya was not really all that much of a leader.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Hyuga gave him the Seijuken, because he saw it.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing is, when we look at that act of Hyuga doing what he did to give him the power, it could be one or two things. It could be an act of desperation of, I gotta hype this guy up because I'm about to die and there's nothing I can do about it. Or it's a genuine, hey, I know you can do this. I love you. You're my brother. I'm about to be yeeted out of here. Peace out.
It's probably both. It was probably a mixture of both.
No, I think it's more to. I think it's the second more than the
It
first.
is definitely the second more than the first, but there's definitely some. This is the only option I have left, kind of Hail Mary move. But yeah,
Yeah.
he made it comfortably because he knew Ryoma could do it, and yeah, I'm beginning to remember why I loved Ryoma as a character so much from my first watch through this season. He's
I like how we can get this much out of him from what is basically just a mindlessly dumb but a fun episode.
I mean,
the story. The story itself is stupid.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
get me wrong. I mean,
I know.
But I mean, when you have
there's
a character,
scene in the, like,
when you have a
there's
character,
a scene in this episode. Go ahead, Patrick.
when you have a character as written as well and as in depth as Ryoma, you can get a lot from little from a character like this. And it's one of the things that honestly the writer for this season has done really well with their reds, is that their reds are very multi-layered. Time Red, Shinken Red, Ginga Red. I haven't seen Go Busters or Tokyuji yet, but I don't think Tokyu Ichigo is anything to write home about. But so far, the reds have been pretty multi-layered for her, so she knows how to write a good Red Ranger.
Yeah.
I want to comment on your point there, but honestly, I struggle to remember a lot of Tokyuzu's Red. We talked about this the other night, Nate. I just don't have any memory.
That's what I'm saying. I haven't heard anything good about Tokyu Ichigo, so I can't say the same applies to him.
He's not an F tier red.
No.
But best case, he's like a C tier red.
He's a C tier. He's not a D tier. There's no way.
And I don't know much about Red Buster either, but
yeah,
Red Buster was all right. He's a
Hiromu was
Red Buster's cool. Yeah, Red Buster was pretty
I was
good.
about to say he's a B.
Yeah,
I don't think he makes a case for an A. There's nothing A tier worthy, but definitely he's a solid B. I think she started having trouble with her reds after Takeru.
Yeah. Well, probably because she just peaked at that point.
Yeah, she peaked with him.
I mean, I haven't seen the entire season yet, but
I don't know. Ryoma's probably like, well, he's a top 5. I think Nate can back me up on this.
Oh yeah, Ryoma's top 5 for me.
Yeah, so
okay, so just to get some of my Ranger analysis out the door right now, and because I don't want to talk about episode 16. Ryoma is already entering my top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might actually be getting a better review from me than even Takeru did.
I mean, I'll let it slide. Because it's understandable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He still doesn't remove the king, but he's making a damn good case for Takeru.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I need to see more, but as of right now, I'm really considering him at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. For chapter 15, I'm probably going to give this an 8.5.
I'm going with an 8.
I have to knock off some points because the plot's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go with 8 too.
Yeah,
it was definitely funny.
It was funny though.
That time I ate a bomb by accident. No, it's like I want to give it a 7 just because I really hate the plot of this episode. It's so cartoonish for the wrong reasons.
No, I'm saving my bad. I'm saving my bad score for the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, 7's not a bad score, but
I only gave it an 8 as well because
what were you giving it an 8 for again, Anthony?
I gave it an 8 because you sneeze on the food. You don't sneeze on the food. I'm sorry,
on
no.
the food.
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
How rude can you be? I mean, understandable.
That made me mad.
Very valid
So,
reaction to somebody doing that.
What did you want to give it, Patrick?
I'm giving it a 7, just because I really hate the actual story of this episode. We need to go to a waterfall and hiccup 100 times. What?
Yeah, that whole okay, the hiccuping 100 times I can kind of get, because I think it's kind of based off, I don't know,
A
like,
timer.
now I was once watching, maybe this is a thing in Japan. I have to check with my wife. Like, I was once watching a show, like this old anime, an episode of an anime that my wife used to watch as a kid, called Crayon Shinchan, where there's an episode where, like, one of Crayon Shinchan's classmates is like hiccuping, and then somebody says, if he hiccups 100 times, he'll die. So maybe that's just part of like some Japanese like superstition or something like that. So I don't mind that, but
I thought this was simple. Let's count to 100 before you go boom.
yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was too cartoonish.
Yeah, I know, because
I
there's
saw
a
that
dub
show.
version of it, I think, came on Adult Swim at some points. So yeah.
Yep,
I
that's
think
why I watched it.
SpongeBob did this episode better with the pie.
Oh, 100%.
You,
Yeah,
me,
definitely.
and this brick wall you built between us. That episode was so good.
Yeah. But anyway, let's move on to the final episode of this batch, Homeland of the Heart. It's a Hayate-centric filler episode where basically there's this grumpy old man who claims to be their horse club's owner's father. And, you know, he's acting like a jerk to all of them throughout the entire episode. And Hayate attempts to befriend him. Only thing to note about this is that I think some footage of Hayate might have been shown in an episode, that Chameleac Warrior episode of Lost Galaxy, but for the most part, this episode was not adapted into Lost Galaxy, and the monster of the day of this episode, a blowfish monster called Amehoshi, it is the only one of Budo's monsters that was not adapted into a monster in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. Didn't appear at all. So, Riz, you've been voicing how much you love this episode the past couple of minutes. So how about you start off with what you think about this one?
This episode, I just have one simple question to ask everyone. Why did I waste 20 minutes watching this? Like, what did we gain from this filler episode? And I know this is a bad question to ask because you don't normally gain a lot from filler episodes, but at least in the last two, we gained some nice character development, character insight.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get anything out of this. It just felt like a waste of time. Like, herder, I'm here to be a dick because I own this place. Herder, I'm going to sabotage you so I can fire you. And then Hayase tries to befriend him, and he's like, I don't befriend you. You're stinky. And then they have to fight, and then they come back, and Hayate's like, wait, you're not the owner of this place. You're the owner before the owner. And you're just sad that this place isn't your home anymore. Well, we lost our home, so I understand. Let's be friends now for real. And he's like, yeah, let's be friends now for real. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, this is so convoluted and pointless. And I wanted to like it because Hayate's a cool character, but Hayate couldn't save this thing. It was a train wreck to me.
I'll give it the defense that
he couldn't.
This is probably the first bad episode of the season, so I don't care.
See, if I had watched the episode this morning with the rest of them that I had watched, I would have put in a group that, hey, it took us 16 episodes to find an episode I didn't like.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good record.
Gingaman kind of has
the only season that tops that record
is which season?
I was gonna say King Ozer.
Yeah,
because King Ozer didn't have a bad episode for quite some time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I will say that Gingaman
have an episode I didn't like.
So.
I can't remember any. There were some that were weaker, but I don't think there was a bad episode in King Ozer. But the thing that I think that helps Gingaman out a lot is that it kind of has the same thing that Shinkenger did, where they make really good use out of their filler episodes. And it's one of the things that really helped elevate
Yeah.
Shinkenger with me. And Gingaman, for the most part, does the same thing. Yeah, there'll be like one or two that are just like this one, where you're like, it's very clear that it was like a space waster episode. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
who cares? I have nothing else to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I kind of that I feel kind of weird, especially given an episode that we're going to be looking at in the next batch, like why, like the whole Hayate being afraid of honey when there's going to be another episode where he's afraid of another thing, like it just seems like I don't know, that just seems kind of weird, and I'll talk more about that when we get to that episode in the next batch. But like, I mean,
Oh, the thing he's scared of is the reason he's scared of honey is also really silly.
Oh, the next
Like,
episode where Hayate
Yeah.
is afraid of something, I can vouch for him in that episode. This one, there's no excuse.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm gonna go into like a little mini rant. It's not like a bad like rage inducing rant. It's more like an annoying rant. It's like with the former owner pretending to be, the actual owner's son. It's just kind of annoying. It's like, dude, you could have just talked to them and said, "Hey, like I used to work here. How's it going? Is everything going good or whatever?" And I know he had explained that he just felt enraged because he felt like, oh, they were having fun because that used to be my place, or whatever. And it's like, dude, you can still visit the place. You can still come over. They're not gonna what kick you out because, oh, you're not the owner anymore. Get out. You suck. No, be a normal person and talk to these people instead of just being an antagonist for no freaking reason. And on top of that, it makes Hayate look bad because he didn't even tell his teammates that, hey, this guy wasn't really the owner. Owner's son. He was just some guy that used to be the owner. And then they would look at him like, are you serious? Like, he could have waited until after they left to tell them that, obviously. I'm not saying he should tell them right when he's there and then they can confront him about it. No. They wait till after he leaves and says, oh, by the way, he wasn't the owner. Then they can be like, what? We did all that for somebody who didn't even, who wasn't even the owner or whatever. Like that was a waste of time. But he told them like, but it was a lesson, y'all. Had that been the owner's actual dad, what would y'all have done? And he's like, yeah, you're right. And then that would have been a learning experience for all of them. But no, it makes Hayate look like a liar. Like, dude, just tell them the truth. Obviously, the dad's gonna tell them. I mean, why would he hide that?
yeah, that old man, like, he's probably what ruins this episode for me. Like, because here's the problem. Like, when you start off, like you get the vibe that like he's just, he wants the Gingaman men to be like just care for this in like a really great way. Like at first you think he's going to be that, but then you get the scene where he's messing with Saya when she's like raking the area and he intentionally plants a cigarette butt, and it's like, okay, you just lost all sympathy for me. And then
Yeah,
like the thing that just really like boiled my blood is like when he
yeah.
finds out that Hayate is afraid of honey, he decides, oh, I'm going to mess with them in this really messed up kind of way where I'm going to come in with a smile on my face, pretending like I'm this nice, friendly little boss. Hey, guys, how about we have some biscuits? I'm sorry I was so mean. How about we have some biscuits? Oh, and I'm going to pour honey over them. Hey, Hayate, who I just learned is afraid of honey. Want to have this honey biscuit? Come on. Like, that is so messed up.
That's that is the equivalent, Nate, to someone having a arachnophobia and him making a cake
Exactly.
that looks like a spider.
Yeah, this
Hello, person who I just learned has irrational fear of snakes. Meet my pet snake.
yeah. This is an actual. I'm not even joking when I say this. This is an actual George
Yeah.
Costanza move because he did something like this in an episode of Seinfeld.
Oh, Lord.
I don't eat
Yeah.
shellfish because they're not good for me. And he's to spite the girl, he put a lobster in like the pancakes he made the next morning. What a dick!
God.
This guy was the real antagonist of this episode. The monster of the week was a side villain. This guy was the real antagonist.
But yeah,
Pretty much. And no, he doesn't get brownie points for saving Hayate in his fight with I forgot her name already. How to pronounce her name
Yeah, too
correctly?
little, too late, old man.
Shalinda. Okay. It's like exactly. I could have just like let it like
But
okay,
I don't want
Shalinda,
to
finish
say
him
that
off,
this
please.
episode is like as bad as like a Ranger filler, because I mean it still does give Hayate some moments to shine. So I don't want to give it too low of a grade, but I'm probably looking at like I want to say like 5 out of 10. Like
Yeah.
I feel half tempted to give it a 4 just because that old man really ruins it for me. But I'm gonna go with a 5 because I mean Hayate,
You're being generous, Nate. I would have gave it a 2,
but Hayate
but
is still.
I'm not that mean.
I mean, he's a cool character and he gets some moments to shine. So he not enough to save it completely,
Yeah.
but I still want to give it a 5.
This gets a 4 from me.
Yeah, fair enough.
That old man can go to hell.
I'm going to give it a 3. I was gonna be
You know
mean to give it
what,
a 2, but I'm like, you
Anthony?
know what?
You know
I'll
what?
give you a 3 just because I
I'm
like
changing that 4
Hayate.
to a 2. Bet.
We're going
Ooh.
scoring limbo. How low
Dang.
can you go?
I can't go any lower because then I'm talking about John again.
No, we're hitting Zoo Ranger territory when you start going to 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you going to give Patrick?
I'm giving it a 5 also.
Okay, cool. So now, we don't have to talk about the villains because I feel like we kind of did our villain analysis.
Yeah, we
So
did that already.
Talking about the Sambash stuff. So all that's left to do is do our Ranger analysis and each give our updated rankings. So, Riz, since you're the only one who's not seen Gingaman before, how about you start?
Hang on, let me think about this. So, Ryoma's still at the top.
Cool.
Hikaru is probably still my second, followed by Saya, followed by Goki, followed by Hayate.
Jeez. Honestly, I would probably.
I'm a little.
Hmm?
I'm a little flimsy on my 2 and 3. I don't know. I think actually, I want to see a little bit more Goki before I give Goki a higher rank.
Yeah.
Because Goki was really good in one episode, but
Yeah.
I need more out of him.
You'll get more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
understandable, but you will get more.
But my issue is I like Saya and Hikaru a lot, but I can't decide who I like more. But I can definitely tell you Ryoma's my favorite character in the season.
Yeah.
You want to give
He's my
yours,
favorite character
Anthony?
too. Let's see. Ryoma. Let's see what else. Hayate, Hikaru, Saya, and Goki. And I'm only putting Goki last, not because I don't dislike him.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs
this
to
is
I
another
guess,
one of those
give us more.
Sentais
You
where
know.
all 5 of the characters are solid to the point where you almost feel kind of bad putting someone at the end.
Yeah, putting someone at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick?
Yeah.
Ryoma, Goki, Hayate, Hikaru, Saya. Like,
Cool.
I don't want to put any of them at the bottom because, like you just said, they're all good characters so far. It's just how do you prefer them?
Yeah.
It honestly, if I might make a suggestion for when we do part 3, instead of ranking them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, I'd rather say S tier, A tier.
Yeah, give them a letter
B
grade.
tier.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Because it's difficult for me to give a real ranking because
Yeah.
I mean, all of them
hard.
are getting at least a B. If I wanted to do that, they're all at least a B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for me, if I were to go with that, Ryoma's an S tier.
Mm-hmm.
Saya's an A tier for right now. She might pop up to an S tier later. Hikaru is definitely A tier territory. I don't know if he's ever going to go up, but he's definitely A tier. Goki is at that A B territory. I don't know where to put him yet. Hayate is probably in the same category for me right now. A B.
Yeah.
Anthony, if we go by that logic, what would you do for your tiering?
I would still give
Everybody?
everybody a B.
Everybody.
At least, wow.
Everybody a B tier.
Everybody. And it's not because I don't love the characters. I just want to like I said, we're still early on, and I still need to remember like more
Play it
episodes of these
safe.
characters.
Yeah, that's fair.
I get it.
But I will definitely give Hikaru a B plus though, because like I said, he's really starting to grow on me.
Okay.
I'll probably say Ryoma's an S, and then the other 4 A.
Yeah.
That's fair.
For me, well, first of all, I am saying that Ryuma is my favorite. I used to say that Goki was, but here was the thing: like, I always did like Ryoma. Like, I had him as an S tier when I was doing my Reds originally, and the only other 2 Reds that I have as my S are Marvelous and Takeru. So he's on par with them. But honestly, like, watching these first 16 episodes, I like him a lot more than I actually originally liked him. Like, he is, and knowing what's coming next, I feel like I don't know, if there's like an S plus tier, I might feel tempted to say that he's even better than that, because I kind of hinted at that when we were doing our when we were like tiering the Red Power Rangers. I said, I mean, I liked Leo at first, but after seeing Ryuma have the same arc and how better Ryuma is, I don't know. I'm starting to kind of dislike Leo a little bit. Like, so Ryuma is definitely S. Goki is a high A for me. I just find him to be, I don't know, he, like Riz, like, you know, you and I constantly talk about how much we like Wrecker in the Bad Batch. Goki isn't exactly like Wrecker, but he's still a likable, you know, he's a
likable goon.
Yeah, kind of like Wrecker in a different way. That's why I feel almost. Yeah, I know the equivalence is not completely the same. Do you see what I'm trying to say, though?
If I squint my eyes in a certain way and turn my head to a certain degree angle, yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I agree with it, because I haven't seen Goki in all his glory just yet. But Wrecker, on the other hand, I've had like, what, 30, 40 episodes of him so far, maybe more.
But yeah, I mean, he's still great. Hikaru, I'm putting in a B tier right now. Great character, but I mean, I originally had him as a D character, so the fact that he's gotten all the way up there, I mean, that's just an accomplishment for him. Saya is still A for me. You know, I always thought she was an A tier peak, although she could end up being an S tier, which that's kind of big because there's actually no S tier pinks that I can think of. I have plenty of A tier pinks, but no S tier pinks. Although Mira from Boom Boomger might be an S tier pink by the time Boom Boomger is over. We don't know, but that's possible.
Going off of the 6 episodes of Boom Booms I've seen so far, yeah.
Yeah. And then Hayate is an A tier green. Hayate is one where I always liked him, but he's the one that I don't remember him doing as much. So if I end up, you know, watching it, not that I don't remember him doing as much, I just can't remember his arc as much as I remember some of the others, just because I really like Ryuma and Goki when I originally watched it. But Hayate could end up joining Chiaki in the S tiers, because Chiaki is the only S tier green I've ever seen. So Hayate could be like that. But I mean, even if he doesn't, he's still A. So yeah, that's my rankings. What do we want to give for our closing thoughts? Just with thoughts of Gingaman. I know this isn't too much since we just did basically 1 2-parter and a bunch of filler episodes, but yeah, let's just try to get. We're about to jump into some much more heavy-handed stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, what do we think about
Mhm.
thus far? And especially
It's about to
Riz,
get
since he's
good.
not seen this one before.
I think this has real potential to be one of my favorite Sentai.
Yeah.
And I don't say that lightly because right now my two favorite Sentai are Gokai and Senken. And I'm kind of nervous that this Sentai might start to be ousting the Senkensers, but who the heck knows?
What about King Oger, dude?
Yeah, but King Oger's like not movable from spot number 2.
Okay, yeah.
And
All right,
Gokai's
that's
not
fair.
movable. Senkensers at spot number 3, and that's what I'm kind of more nervous about. Am I reading my top 3 or not?
Yeah.
No, or it's gonna be a top 4.
Dude, who you telling? I'm almost
No, this is
biased
gonna be a
when
top
it comes to
4.
Shikiju. That's my first Sentai.
It's definitely top 5.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's been in my top 5 for a while, and the only real
Yeah.
question for me is it going to move up in the top 5?
Yeah.
yeah, like I really think this has a case to being top 3 for me. But again, I gotta finish the season. But as of right now, my Sentai rankings are Gokai, Kingo, possibly this or possibly Senken.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah,
we'll
that's
find
fair.
out one day.
Anthony, Patrick, you want to add anything?
Oh, well. We're covering which
I'm ready for
episodes
more.
next time? 17 through 17
26.
26?
Yeah.
Every single one of them is going to be stories, so this next podcast is going to be beefy. Get ready, guys.
Yeah.
We're going to be here for a long
this
time
was-
next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good way to wrap it up then. I'm definitely ready for the next podcast.
Oh,
I'm looking
yeah.
forward to that. But with that said, we for everyone who's listening, we thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen. If you enjoyed listening to the Toku Secrets podcast, please check us out at animesecrets.org and follow us on all our social media pages such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And also feel free to check out our other podcasts, including Anime Declassified and the Jedi Squadron. You can also leave us any feedback you'd like to offer us directly on our website. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, we thank you so much, and please leave us a rating out of 5 stars. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and leave any comments down below, as we love to take the time to read comments left on our channel and give our fans, shout-outs. If you have any seasons of Super Sentai, Power Rangers, or other Tokusatsu shows that you'd like for us to check out, please don't hesitate to say so in your feedback. With all that said, we thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast, and we will see you next time as we continue our never-ending journey through the world of Tokusatsu. But until that time, you all stay safe, we love you, and may the power protect you.